Welcome to the New Life in Australia podcast, hosted by me, Karen Bleakley, founder of SmartStepsToAustralia.com. Moving to Australia with my family was a life-changing experience, but it wasn't without its challenges. That's why I'm passionate about making the relocation and resettlement process easier for you, so you can enjoy this exciting adventure. Join me and my special guests as we share professional secrets and tips, learn from people who've made the move, and discover businesses that can help you realise your dreams. Now is the best time to create the life you've always wanted. This podcast is here to show you what's possible and to inspire you every step of the way. Let's go.
Let's take a moment to acknowledge the Gubbi Gubbi people, the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which I live, work and play. I thank them for the privilege of being able to live in such an incredible part of the world, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Hey, welcome to the New Life in Australia podcast. I'm your podcast host, Karen Bleakley, and today we're going to be talking about Halloween in Australia and what to expect from Halloween. Now, I know that when you move across the world, things are all very different and there's all kinds of different traditions, all kinds of different experiences to be had. So I thought it would be really interesting just to have just a quick episode just to talk about Halloween, which is fast approaching at the moment. Halloween isn't something that I really celebrated in the UK. I'm not really a big fan of trick-or-treating and decorating our home for Halloween or anything like that, but it's still a really fun time of year for us in Australia. So I thought it would be good to just have a little chat and say how things are different here, anything you need to know about, and just talk about what to expect from your Halloween experience in Australia. Now let's start with trick-or-treating. Now trick-or-treating is something that was done in the UK, it's something that's done here in Australia, it's something that's done in countries all around the world. I don't think it's quite as big here as it is in the US, where it's a really big event, but there are definitely lots of people going out trick-or-treating here in Australia on Halloween night. When we first arrived in Australia, we arrived at the end of September and moved into our rental in the end of October. So we moved in right before Halloween. So it was a real learning experience for us trying to get our head around what was expected from Halloween and trick-or-treating, because we really didn't have any idea. So the house that we moved into, when we arrived, we had a flyer in our mailbox, and the flyer said that our local suburb had organised a trick-or-treat friendly kind of area. So they said if you wanted to take part and be welcoming to trick-or-treaters, you could put this flyer on your garage door or on your door or your mailbox or somewhere displayed outside, so that as people were going around trick-or-treating, they knew which houses were ready to welcome them. So I thought that was a really good idea. I know it's not something that every neighbourhood does. I think it depends on how community focused your area is that you're moving to, but we really appreciated that because it gave us a chance to put up our flyer and show that we were welcoming to the local neighbours' kids who wanted to come around and trick or treat. We since moved to a different neighbourhood when we bought our house, and here they don't do anything like that with the flyers. Instead, you tend to find that when houses want to take part in trick-or-treaters and welcome trick-or-treaters, they put a pumpkin outside or a balloon outside, or they decorate the front of their house to show that they're interested in Halloween. The houses that don't have any decorations outside and that don't put on their outside lights generally aren't interested in Halloween. It's definitely depends on the neighbourhood that you live in and how popular trick-or-treating is in that neighbourhood. But if you don't want to take part in it, then it's something that you can just don't turn on your outside lights, don't decorate the front of your property, and generally you won't get as many door knockers. The thing that really surprised us on that very first year when we put our sign up to say we were welcoming trick-or-treaters was how many people came and knocked on our door. Now, I went out before it and bought heaps and heaps of sweets, bags and bags of them, so that I had big buckets full of treats for people to pick from. And we found really quickly that we had a constant stream of people coming and trick-or-treating. And I was really shocked because we lived in a smallish suburb. I didn't expect that many groups of people. And then we realised that what was actually happening was that people were driving and getting dropped off to our neighbourhood because it was a really popular trick-or-treat area. So parents would drive their kids, drop them off, and then pick them up a few streets up and drive them on to another neighbourhood. So it wasn't only the local community kids who we were giving the treats to, it was people from all across Brisbane. And that was a real eye-opener for us. That wasn't something that we ever experienced in the UK. In the UK, we did have quite a lot of trick-or-treaters coming around, but they were just the local kids who lived on the local 2 or 3 streets near us. And that was what was done. Whereas here, you tend to find that, like, if you actually take part in trick-or-treating and you decorate your house, or you're part of a really active trick-or-treat suburb, then you can end up with a lot of trick-or-treaters coming round. That first trick-or-treat night, I think by about 6 p.m, we'd run out of treats. We literally had given hundreds and hundreds of treats away, and I was just really shocked because then we'd run out and we didn't really know what to do after that point. In fact, at that point, we just ended up going out with the kids and taking them trick-or-treating because we didn't really want to stay in and have lots of door knockers when we had run out of all of our treats. So it's really common for people to seek out trick-or-treat suburbs to go and explore. There are also trick-or-treat maps and Halloween maps that you can find online in different Facebook groups. So I know Brisbane's got a Halloween Lovers Facebook group where there is a big map, an interactive map that you can go on and look at all of the people who really go all out for Halloween and really enjoy it and really want to welcome lots and lots of kids to come to their home. So you can have a look, find local community groups, just go on Facebook and see what you can find. Just search the area that you're moving to and see what Halloween groups are out there and try and pinpoint where the best places to go are. While we're talking about trick-or-treating, something that's really important to learn in Australia is that sweets are all called lollies in Australia. So in the UK, we called a lolly something that was on a stick. Now, in Australia, any sweets are called lollies. So people are just giving out lollies for Halloween. Sweets isn't really a common word. Candy, people might say as well, which is sort of a little bit more American. Lollies is really the Australian phrase for giving out sweets. So if people are asking you if you've got any lollies, then they mean any kind of sweet, not just ones on a stick. So with trick-or-treating, some houses go massive with this here in Australia. And again, in the UK, this wasn't really something I had a lot of experience in. A few houses might put a pumpkin outside or a few decorations. But here, that first year that we arrived, when we'd given out all of our treats and we decided to kind of, if you can't beat them, join them, just to go out and go trick-or-treating on the local couple of streets around our home, we were really shocked. There were houses like where they'd turned the whole garage into like a cemetery with coffins and vampires and ghosts and ghouls. And there were all kinds of scares and people dressed up in all kinds of scary costumes. So it was a lot of fun, actually. Our kids really did enjoy it, even though, as I say, trick-or-treating isn't usually something that we generally do. My kids had the best time and they still talk about going to that trick-or-treating year. They really enjoyed it. Now that our kids are a bit older, our boys really love getting together with a bunch of their mates and going around trick-or-treating as well anyway. So it's definitely something that is fun for kids to do here. And what I really love about it is the weather is so lovely at that time of year. It's really hot. So in the UK, trick-or-treating was never probably very much fun because it was freezing cold and you're trying to be in your Halloween costume, but really you just want to be in a really big winter coat and hat and gloves because it's freezing cold. Whereas here you can wear your Halloween costume and not be freezing cold because it's generally really, really warm. So something that we really do like to do at Halloween is go along to some of the Halloween events that take place in Australia. Now, because, as I said, the weather's so great, there's so much going on at Halloween to celebrate, and so much of it is free as well. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a really good time. If you go online on Facebook again, just Google Halloween events, and you'll find a heap of different events. There's Halloween markets. That's something that we might do this year, is go along to one of the Halloween markets, which is good fun. There's food truck events. There are fetes and parades, and there are lots of outdoor free movie screenings showing different family scary movies like Hotel Transylvania and things like that. So even little kids can have a really good time doing these things, and they don't have to cost a lot of money. You can make some amazing memories. And I really think a lot of it comes down to the fact the weather is so lovely that it means that you can be outside enjoying all of this stuff. Shopping centres also run trick-or-treat events. So if you want to kind of trick-or-treat in a safe environment, kind of just in an organised way, then a lot of the shops in shopping centres will run trick-or-treat events where your kids can go around and still get to experience that. And loads of the theme parks and big attractions run paid Halloween events as well. So think about that, especially if you want to buy an annual pass for one of these venues. Like I know the Gold Coast theme parks, they often will include a ticket to a special event like a Christmas event or a Halloween event. So have a look and see if you're looking at annual passes, which ones run the big Halloween events and if any of them include that. And some of them run Halloween events that are aimed at more grown-up kids like teenagers upwards, and some of them will run events that are really family friendly. So be sure to have a look at any of the big venues, and even the wildlife parks can run Halloween events too that are just maybe trick-or-treating or like a treasure hunt or something like that. So there's things for all the family to really enjoy when it comes to Halloween. In the past, we've gone quite a few years in a row to Queensland Museum, used to run a night at the museum event over Halloween. I don't think it's running this year, but in the past years we've done that, and that's been a lot of fun. We've gone to things like Eat Street in Brisbane for a Halloween themed sort of food truck event to eat lots of yummy food. So there's all kinds of really good fun things you can do. When it comes to dressing up for Halloween, Spotlight is a really great shop in Australia. It's a shop where you'll find material and bedding and soft furnishings, things like that, but they go all out. They've got lots of craft things and lots of costumes. You'll also find things in Kmart, Target, Big W, Woolworths, Coles, all the supermarkets will stock all of the Halloween costumes. It's pretty common to just go and buy just a Halloween costume here. Best and Less is a really good shop for t-shirts and dresses. I know when my daughter was younger that I would always go there for her Halloween kind of outfits that she'd wear through October, just not dress up as such, but just like Halloween themed clothing. So there's loads of options for you to find costumes for your kids. Try to shop early if your kids have a very specific costume that they want. We have had a few years in the past where our kids have made a decision what they want to dress up as, and we've left it a little bit late, maybe the week of Halloween, and we've really struggled to find the exact costume that they want. So some costumes will sell out early. So if you can, shop early, or otherwise, if your kids don't really care, there's always plenty on sale on the week of Halloween as well, but you just might have to be a bit less picky in what you choose. So Halloween in Australia has really been growing in popularity over the last few years, and I'm sure that it will continue to grow in popularity as time goes on. It's definitely getting more and more popular. More people are definitely interested in it. There seems to be more and more free events popping up and more different major big events. Like I say, the theme parks really do go to town with running a big Halloween themed event. So it can actually be as much fun as you want to make it. Or if you really don't like Halloween, then you can also just choose to ignore it, leave your lights off, don't put up any decorations, and just let the day pass. So I think it's fun. I know our kids really enjoy it, even though it wasn't really something we bothered with back in the UK. Now I do enjoy going along to different events and things and having a laugh with the kids. They do really have great memories of their past Halloween events when they've either gone trick-or-treating with friends or we've gone along to one of the big live Halloween events. It might be your first experience of things feeling opposite here in Australia, because I know that when we arrived, it was our first real experience of celebrating something that we were used to celebrating in cold weather in the UK, while it's really hot weather in spring in Queensland. It is a really strange experience getting used to these sort of events being hot and sunny rather than being freezing cold. But it's a really good induction into things, because as you move towards Christmas, then you're going to start getting used to being outside for a lot more Christmas events than you were used to when you were back home. I actually really love it, because it means that at this time of year, you can enjoy being outside for these kind of events, whereas in the UK, it was always too cold to really enjoy them properly. There's nothing worse than taking your kids out for a special event and then having them crying because they're so cold. And I remember that our kids used to do that sometimes at bonfire night when we used to go out. But yeah, celebrating Halloween in Australia, it's a really different experience. Traditions are generally very similar: trick-or-treating, pumpkins, giving out sweets, having your faces painted, getting dressed up and things. But I think it's a really big family-friendly event here, and it's really lovely. The kids really enjoy it, and they make some great memories. I'd love to hear how you're celebrating Halloween in Australia, whether it's your first Halloween here or you've been here for many years. I would love it if you would tag me in any social media posts. I'm at Smart Steps to Oz. Smart Steps to Oz. I'll pop the handle in the show notes so you can have a look at that and tag me in that. I'd really love to see your pictures because I love hearing what memories you're making in your new life in Australia. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was just a short one today, just to talk a little bit about Halloween and what to expect from Halloween in Australia, ready for your new life down under. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a review. Please subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Let's get started building your new life in Australia, one episode at a time.